Alrighty, so this is basically the simplest, easiest way to understand stereo, to get stereo, and understand why, for some reason, you can't get balanced. I spent forever trying to get balanced stereo. Now that I understand it, it kind of pisses me off because it is completely it's the fact that I figured this out is just insane. But keep in mind, I do have a background in electronics. I've been fixing this shit for fucking years. And, it still took me 20 years to actually put 2 and 2 together on this one. So, for the record, if you think you know how stereo works, you don't. If you think you've been shown how it works by the company you work for, you weren't. Trust me on that. There's the only people that probably know how this model works are the people at the very fucking top. Very likely. Or, I could be wrong and everybody knows how this works and I'm a fucking idiot. But nobody's ever shown me this. And it's not like I can Google this. So here it goes. All right, so for this, I will be using the Abbey Road 60s drummer. Now, you should probably be able to hear it a little bit because I'm coming out through my speakers, going in, so you'll kind of hear it, but I don't have it piped through, so hopefully it's not too overbearing here. As it is, I have Kontakt. Now, when you're in Kontakt, it is very important that you do this, okay? So you're going to want to make sure you're clicking on the little I here, and you're going to want to click where it says output. You're going to right click, or and I don't know what you hit on Mac, but you're going to want to create a separate master output channel. Okay, that created this. I did that with the drummer just because the drummers, that obviously is going to be the easiest way to show that this is not like some sleight of hand bullshit. So same thing with the drummer. So there's the Abbey Road. Now, one thing that it is imperative. So I am outputting on channel 1. So that's for the bass. This is basically irrelevant. I'm just going to go ahead and hit play. Now down here, what I have is I have a utility piped into an MSED on both sides, and I am reversing it. These are both inline. I'm sure there's other ways to do this. This is probably not the easiest, but if I go in here and just, turn this on so that we have some audio here. Let's go ahead and I'm just going to hit play on my groove. Turn it down. Now, notice it's redlining. It's that is what it is, because I basically have it inputting into 2 channels and summing. So it's kind of doubling up. And if you come in here and you look, you'll see that this is a mono signal. Okay? This is not a stereo signal. When you add these together, you get mono. Okay? Now, that is because it's not being added together correctly. Well, it is being added together correctly, but you're not being told how it's being added together, which is where the problem is. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this down. Now, if you don't know how MSED works, it's one of those where you're probably not going to get good instructions how it works. So basically just start fucking around in it till you understand what everything does and how it works. It does take multiple versions of MSED to actually get a proper function. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this on, which is basically the left channel, and switched all the way over. I'm not exactly sure why this does this the way it is, but it definitely is somewhat necessary. So when you turn both of these on, you'll notice that they are crosshatched because it is the way it is. Now, I'm not exactly sure what it's doing when it's in line, but it's essentially, from what I gather, is doing this is basically creating my stereo field. Okay, so when it outputs, it's going to flip them again. When it flips them again, notice I am now in stereo. Like, that is a fucking beautiful stereo image that is balanced. Okay, that is, you know, if I go in here and I turn these off and go bam, I was going to turn this off. Now let's see, does this actually create the stereo image? Or do I get, nope, there goes mono again. So no matter what, you have to fucking do this shit. And I'm not even, maybe you don't need to do the left and right, but I mean, I've kind of found that if I don't do that, it doesn't sit in the mix right. So for some reason, and it's probably because it inverts it and then inverts it back, but you know, that's what you want your stereo image to look like. If your shit looks like this, if this is what your shit looks like, you don't know how stereo works, okay? Or if, you know, the thing is you'll get some fluctuations in this, so you'll see it going around in circles, kind of like a spiral. That means there are possible correlation issues. If you suspect you have correlation issues, what you can do is drop this on here, and this will tell you what your correlations are. Okay, so basically between left and stereo right, stereo left, there are no correlation issues. This is a balanced stereo file. Okay, did I do something stupid here? And oh, that's why. I was like, wait a minute, there's something not right here, because that shouldn't be actually happening. Because I didn't turn these back on. So now is that, oh, there, now we can see that there's a slight bit of correlation issue in the upper end. Not really much, just between the left and right. And if we go to the left, stereo left, and then left, stereo right, the between left and stereo right is full. So there's absolutely no correlation issues between your left field and your stereo right field. And by the same token, there should be no correlation issues between your right and your stereo left, or your right and your stereo right for that matter. The only correlation issues should be between left, stereo left, and right. Okay? Those are the only things that should have correlation, because they're the only things that should have any variance. Okay? But if this right here, if your left and stereo right, if there's any correlation issues in here, then that's a problem. That's going to come through in your main mix. So this is how you tell if there's an issue. Obviously, if you're looking at this, there's no issues. I mean, you can tell that is a beautiful drum thing. And if your drums don't look like that when you drop on the MSCD, that's for good reason. I don't know why you have to do this. Like, I don't know why they fucking made it this way. This makes no sense to me. Like, this, for all intents and purposes, and they don't even teach you this shit in college, okay? You can pay for a fucking $100,000 education, and you're not going to learn this until you get in the industry. And even then, I'm pretty sure you have to be pretty high up before they're actually going to teach you this, before you'll learn about this aspect, because, you know, I mean, who really needs to know this other than like top level producers and top level mastering and audio engineers? You know, nobody at the bottom level needs to know this unless you're like me and OCD, in which case you need to know this shit. But anyway, so there it is. There is how to get real stereo, how to know the difference between balanced and unbalanced stereo. Memorize this shit. Tell me why it does this. I don't know why this works. If you know what the fuck I'm doing here, please enlighten me. Because you know what? I got lucky. That's all there is to it. Shadow Gauge out. Boom, boom.